You know, mass shootings are interesting, sad as they are, but they are interesting. But when you talk about mental health, it's not hard to find the information on mental health and mass shootings. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button. Love to hear from you. William in here, 1799. Democrats know the truth about mental health. They know about the mass shootings. But their idea is to sit there and push it on to everybody else. So their idea is basically sitting there and say, well, we need to ban everything. We need to ban these mean weapons of war. They don't belong on our streets. But the problem here is not the firearm. Now, ironically, people have done murder from either using a vehicle, knife, any type of object to run over or kill or stab or choke out somebody. Or in Timothy McVeigh's case, use potassium nitrate and some diesel fuel. He didn't need a gun, but he did a lot of devastation. And recently, there was another person who used a incendiary device. Of course, he also paid the price. But when you look at this thing about mass shootings and everything, they don't tell you the truth about it. Their idea is basically, we'll just ban everything. Just get rid of it. Now, all these 12 states that are controlled by Democrats and their legislators don't want you to have a firearm. They don't want the Supreme Court to tell them that you have rights. And they sure as hell don't want Congress to pass the right to carry a firearm, to defend yourself from bad actors. Now, what do I mean by, well, you got drug dealers, you got murderers, you got rapists, you got child traffickers, you got people bringing in illegal firearms, gangs, taking over neighborhoods. Yeah, but you don't need a firearm to protect yourself. You're the threat. And a lot of these politicians up there will tell you that the Second Amendment is not what you think it's for. It's not designed for you to go out and buy any weapon you want to go take on some tyrannical government. But unfortunately, that's what the Second Amendment is for. Mental health is a very interesting point here. Mental health and mass shootings are one of the biggest problems we have. But they don't believe in that. No, they don't believe in that. So when they used to put that Brady Bill in, the idea of the Brady Bill was to ban the AR-15, which wasn't very popular at the time. It was just starting to get involved. But it was not the culprit in Columbine shooting. Person with mental health issues, person on medications. It turned him into Dr. Jekyll one day and Mr. Hyde the next. So what of it? Democrats know the truth about gun control, and they know the real truth about the mental health issue. But they have an idea to figure if we can tap legislation to ban semi-automatic firearms because we don't want the people to have these firearms because that's where they stop short. See, they know the truth about it. They know the truth about mental health. They know the truth that not everybody's involved. And they know the damn truth that not everybody is the one at fault. But that's not what they believe in. They don't believe in the Constitution, even though they sit there and they talk about, oh, this right-wing extremist people over here, the MAGA and Donald Trump and his administration, are violating the Constitution when they don't even believe in the Constitution in the first place. Unfortunately. Like I said before, Democrats say the Constitution, the Second Amendment is not what you think it's for. So what is it for? The Second Amendment was put in it by the Founding Fathers for two reasons only. To protect yourselves, your family, and your country. Period. No, unfortunately, they don't want to believe in that. That's interesting. They don't believe in that. Firearms, right, is there to defend yourselves. Nothing more can come out and say that. It's not for hunting. It's not to just go to the range. It's not just to go show off to your friend. It is to protect yourself and your loved ones and your country. Classic example. Look at the mass graves in Mexico. Look what Josh Trudeau did in Canada by banning all kinds of firearms, and they're still trying to ban firearms by the new government. They don't get it. But a lot of these Democrats say, well, what are you going to cut as mass shootings? But they don't want to really address the issue of why the mass shootings are there. Because they can't deal with the problem. People say they need to do something. They need to do something. These anti-gun groups say they need to do something. The problem is they can't do anything. So they come up with this idea, we'll just ban everything. But now the new twist is want to ban all semi-automatic firearms. So it only leaves you with revolvers, lever-action rifles, ball-action rifles, and shotguns. They cannot be semi-automatic. Cannot have a magazine fed, neither. So what of it? While countries around the world are telling their people, you need to know how to use a firearm. They're telling them you need to know how to defend yourselves. Many countries are willing to lift any restrictions of their civilians so they get the proper training and learn how to use a firearm. Where are these countries? Right next to Russia. At NATO. NATO nations. Makes sense, doesn't it? We had a similar clause here, you know. Because during the War of 1812, our army and navy was not really existent. So when the British had a field day come rolling right on through there, they even burned down Washington almost, or tried to. But the thing here is, it was the people, the citizens. They helped what their military is to fight the British out and get rid of it. Now during the time of the Civil War, the Confederacy was armed with whatever they had. They didn't want to give up slavery. They didn't want to give up anything. So now, the war was on. Interesting part though, the British weren't done. They tried a sneaky little deal. They helped arm the Confederacy. Now, how did that work? Well, here's the thing. The British weren't going to get involved unless the Confederacy can prove they can win a major battle. So, their advisors, which were here in civilian clothing, they were soldiers, but in civilian clothing only, if they could prove they can win a major battle, they will assist the Confederacy, which in other words means we will have British forces on the ground. and most likely Canada would join. That means the northern states would be completely surrounded. Fighting the Indian Wars, fighting the Civil War, fighting Canada. That means the people would have to do something, and most Americans had firearms. We haven't learned a lesson though with Ukraine, interesting enough. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the first few towns they hit, they butchered everybody, men, women, and children. They had no weapons to defend themselves. Bodies were left out in the cold or out in the street or out in the air. When those towns were liberated, well, guess what happened? They showed us the atrocities. They showed us what happened. Take a look at Israel. They were attacked. Can't stress this enough. The Second Amendment is not just for what the Democrats want to call taking on a tyrannical government. It is also to defend you and your country. Plain and simple. And let's say China decides to get stupid enough to decide to take us. They don't want to use nuclear weapons. No country wants to use nuclear weapons because they won't live, neither will I. To show what I mean is, between Russia and the United States, and I know this pretty well, between just our two countries alone, excluding everyone else with nuclear weapons, we have an arsenal between us and Russia to destroy this planet 10 times over. Yeah, that's pretty bad, ain't it? But then they lose the spoils of war. So they rather try to take it any way they can. That's why the Europeans are teaching their civilians how to use firearms with the help of their military. Makes common sense. While we're trying to disarm everybody over here, they're trying to arm their people because they know the dangers of it. That's why Yamamoto turned around and said to his emperor that to invade the United States, for every blade of grass there's a gun behind it. He was rightfully true. We do. That's what the Second Amendment was here for. Democrats hate it. They hate the Constitution. They hate the Supreme Court. They hate everything about it. They're not going to come out and tell you, but they hate it. That's why they want to disarm everybody. You got bad actors in this country now. Also, more that you need a right to carry firearms across state lines and to protect yourselves. Only a fool surrenders his or her firearm. Only a fool. Because now you leave yourself wide open. And these bad actors in this country, which we're trying to deport, but these lower courts and these district courts are playing politics or trying to rewrite the Constitution or trying to overstep the authority of the President of the United States. All the more so you need a right to defend yourselves. Home invasions, murder, rape. Democrats does not recognize those victims, but they worry about these illegals and stripping you of your constitutional rights. 12 states are involved in this mess, all Democrat controlled. That's why you need to get rid of these Democrats. Your rights are yours. Your freedom depends on you. If you get a firearm, get the proper training. If you get this firearm, train regularly. Don't listen to these damn fools who write these goofy laws. Till then, keep your friends and family close. And remember I said, we are all the militia here, whether you would like to believe that or not. Till then, you take care. I'll catch you around.